Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, elder candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
Boom.
Boom.
We're back.
We're back.
Doing it. And
Doing it. You went to Orlando.
That was
You
good.
went to Canvas, red eye back.
Right? Did that.
Couldn't record yesterday because you had that red eye, like I told you we weren't going to be able to do.
You know what? It's worse than pink eye.
Yeah, it's red.
Yeah, I know. It's
Red
like
is
it's not-
darker. Yeah, it's more menacing.
Yeah. But no, but pink eye is grosser.
Yeah, there's a difference between gross and menacing.
Yeah. Well, the red eye, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Okay.
I had to take a little nap when I got home.
Okay.
From like 8:30 to 11:30.
Mm-hmm. That's not bad. Not
and
bad.
then I got on with my day. But on Saturday, but yeah, no, it was good. It was good. Canvas is great, man. People should go to Canvas.
I
It's a
wanted to
lot
go
of fun.
so bad.
People were asking about you.
Were they really?
Yeah, everybody was asking.
Well, Thomas, maybe send me an invite instead of your Facebook mass invite to everybody.
yeah. I got a personal
I know you got a
invite.
personal
Yeah.
one because you're Joe freaking Thorne.
Yeah, it was pretty
Everyone
cool.
wants Robin. Robin gets all the glory.
No, that first of all,
Yes,
that doesn't
he
make
does.
any sense.
It makes sense
It
because
doesn't make
Robin
any
becomes
sense.
Nightwing and he becomes his own superhero.
All right, you can
and
call
his
me
own thing.
Nightwing. You can call me Nightwing, but not Robin.
Yeah, I'll call you Nightwing.
Oh,
You're
that's
Nightwing.
fine. I'm Nightwing.
You're Nightwing.
All right, cool.
I mean, it's just
you're
Robin.
you're the penguin.
That was pretty good. And all I could think, as soon as you said it, all I could picture was Danny DeVito wobbling around. I was like, oh, dang it.
How bad was that? It was so terrible.
It was horrible.
It was so bad.
And I liked Michael Keaton.
Oh, no,
I
Keaton's
liked,
great.
I
Mike
liked the
Keaton's
first
awesome.
one. I love that first one. That second one, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I didn't. Michael Keaton is awesome in everything.
Yes.
But man, that was bad. Hey,
And he was really good in that Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh. I actually think he saved that film.
oh, we didn't. The film was great. No, the film was.
He
great.
made it so much
He
better.
didn't save it. Save it implies
But
it needed rescue. And it
I
was
think it
going to
needed
die.
rescuing.
No,
I
it
think it was.
didn't. No.
I think at times it was cheesy and pointless, and
No.
he brought in a wide range.
I don't even like comic book movies and that kind of stuff. And
I'm just saying.
I'll tell you, it's-
Michael Keaton was the man.
Okay, Michael Keaton is the man. He has been the man
No,
ever since he was.
He was the man.
He is.
No, he was.
How is he?
Because he's done now.
No, he's not.
That was the best performance of his career. He's done.
Over and out.
He's over and out.
Okay, well, that's kind of sad. I liked him. I thought I'd see him in
Yeah,
more stuff.
you won't see him in anything else.
I mean, you know what I liked about Spider-Man: Homecoming is it was the first time when the film versions of Spider-Man made me feel that I guess it was the first time where it reflected current youth culture and humor. Whereas when I saw like Sam Raimi's version of Spider-Man, it felt like the high school was like a 50s high school culturally. I was like, that's not high school. And then this one seemed like really cool. So I liked it. I liked Ned, Peter's friend. Mm-hmm. That was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. So he's the guy. You're the guy in the chair. You're the guy in the chair.
As soon as he said that,
my
as
gosh,
soon as you said
I'm
that,
Spider-Man.
as soon as
and
you
you're the
said
guy
that,
in the chair.
As soon as you go dead, I was like, dang it. He's pivoting.
I
knew you were going to pivot.
It wasn't intentional.
I knew you were going to pivot.
I didn't plan it.
I knew it. See, that's how much smarter I am than you. I know the jokes you're going to make 2 minutes before you make
That's
them.
why you're the guy in the chair.
No!
What are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking about the most requested topic that we get from emails to
right.
whatever, Instagram messages,
Manscaping.
tweet. Wait.
You said come on, man, you've got a lot to man. You got long hair, you got the beard, you got the whole thing.
No. The question is about Leadership Lab, just leadership development in general. How do you develop leaders here at Redeemer Fellowship? What are your suggestions for those that are aspiring to leadership? And how do you put in a program within your church to develop leaders along the way?
Right. In fact, even in the last week, we've heard from two different guys that are starting their own leadership labs right now.
Yeah. Third, I got an email about it.
Actually, 4. I just got one right before you came in.
Bam, 4.
5.
You're lying about
No,
yours.
I'm lying about the last one.
I know you're
I
lying.
couldn't let you be like have the most recent update.
I had the most recent one.
Yeah, it's usual. So here's the thing that I think is really important to get across. I would want to start with this, and that is that developing future leaders is one of the most important tasks that any local church is going to do. Because what you need to do is to make sure that you have enough people who are qualified and called and trained to do the work of ministry in case the current leadership bites the dust, whether they die or have to relocate or there's a scandal. We just don't know. It could be a bunch
you
of
went
different
dark
things.
fast.
Well, hey, look around.
He died.
Yeah, well, that happens a lot.
He had an affair.
That happens probably even more often than death.
All right.
Maybe not. And then, sometimes they have to relocate. The point is that you've got to have leadership in place to do the work of ministry.
Yeah.
But you also have to continue to raise up these guys because you need to be able to replace yourself, right? If something should happen to you. Plus, think about the people that, God could be sending out into other areas. So you want to be raising up these leaders. It's really, really important. And most people don't, your average small church like ours and smaller, they don't really, it's frequently true that they don't have a plan.
Yeah. And I think for a church to grow, though, it's not just about people leaving and whatnot. It's also about, as a church grows, you need the structure in place so that there's qualified. I like that you made sure that that's part of this. There's qualified individuals that can take on certain tasks, so that just isn't all upon the lead pastor,
right.
Or for a lot of smaller churches, the 2 or 3 other elders and leaders.
Right. The more your church grows, the more need you have for oversight, leadership.
Absolutely, yep.
And so you're going to need more deacons, you're going to need more elders, you're going to need more small group leaders, community group leaders, more volunteers. So leadership development is critical. And I think the other thing that comes to my mind on the front end of this is that a lot of churches, especially your average size church, right, right around 100 people on a Sunday, those are the churches that frequently think, well, we don't have the capacity to raise up leaders, or we don't have anybody. I hear that all the time. There's nobody. I've got nobody here. And I'm just going to go ahead and call, what can I call, Jimmy? Can I call nonsense? Is that something I can call?
Shenanigans.
I'm calling shenanigans.
I'm calling shenanigans.
Okay, I like that. We're calling shenanigans on that.
Because, we're not going to sugarfoot around here. That's a shenanigan.
It's a callback. So, because, listen, I get it. I know you might be in a situation where there's an unhealthy church that you've inherited, or you're pastoring a bunch of really young Christians, and so maybe nobody is ready to serve as an elder right now. But I tend to believe that 99% of the time there are a few key people that you could be investing in to raise up as potential leaders in the future.
And that's the whole part of this process, is that you need to be looking at people and having the kind of foresight. I mean, you need to have the kind of vision that you can see where someone could go potentially.
Yeah.
You need to look past where they're at now and see where God might be calling them to.
And I've seen this. I've been in ministry now for 20 years, 97 to 2017. Yeah, there you go. So 98, so almost 20 years. I've been a pastor of a church.
Dang, I just became a Christian then.
Yeah, that's right. I could be your dad. I'm so old.
In
your granddad.
In the Lord.
Yeah,
like spiritual father, spiritual grandfather.
But even with Pastor Pat, right? So Pastor Pat and I, we planted our first church together. It was Pat and his wife, me and my wife, and Uncle Rob and his wife. And so we were the 3 families that started Grace Baptist Church, is what we called it. And early on, I could see Pat's heart for ministry. Yeah. And he had a heart for ministry, children, youth, family, stuff like that. And, as we continued to do this, he was working a full-time job at Toyota. He sort of expressed an interest, a desire to go into ministry. I mean, he has a degree from a Bible college, Multnomah, good Bible college. And I could see him. I'm like, okay, so he hasn't been in it. He's been doing this work at Toyota. But I could see in Pat the ability to shepherd, the ability to pastor. I could see it. And when I started talking to him about it, he told me that some person, whatever you want to call him, some guy, some pastor, told Pat that, hey, man, you either have it or you don't have it, like the leadership gene or quality or whatever it is, the quan. You're born with it or you're not. And he told Pat, you don't have it. And
those of us that know Pat,
I'm like, well, first of all, who's this guy?
Yeah.
What? That's not how it works. First of all, there may be some qualities that you're born with and are overwhelmingly evident, but most people that I've come to know over the 40, however old I am, years, they've had to grow into their callings and grow into the ways in which God uses them. So I was just like, what the heck? And sure enough, Pat's like, no, I want to go that way. And now look at him. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, man, he's killing it. So like even with Pat, what you can't teach is that heart. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you're
Pat,
either born with it or you don't.
That's
have
it.
right? And then
like, Pat is born with a heart. I'm just saying he's born with a heart for people and
Yeah.
for youth and for children.
Yeah.
And so,
and
yeah,
he's a worker, man.
That's it.
Dude
You
is
could,
always working.
other things can be kind of trained and worked through, but the love for people is something that God has gifted him with from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're looking at raising up leaders, the issue to raise up leaders, if you're a pastor and you're like, man, I need help, because I knew that I did. I know that I am too much of a lightweight to carry the church on my own shoulders. Like I needed a team of pastors and a team of deacons all working together for me to not completely die.
Yeah.
So maybe you're a pastor and you know that you need leaders. Maybe you're in a church and you have a sense of calling to be a leader in some capacity. Maybe it's an elder.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a community group leader.
That's right.
Right? Could be a deacon, whatever. But there's no there's no plan. There's no path. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard of big churches that have no plan to raise up leaders from the inside.
Wow.
They don't have it. They'll bring in people from the outside, but they don't raise up people from the inside. So big and small, people have the problems. Let's talk about how we're doing it at a relatively small church. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit bigger than the national average, 250 on Sundays as an average. Although I bet we broke that today. We were pretty packed today.
Yeah. We'll find out.
So how do we raise up leaders? What is the general process? What's the very first thing that we're looking for as we consider this sort of a thing?
Well, I think we're first thing is, are they already serving?
Right.
Like, are they already plugged into some capacity without being asked?
So they have to essentially be a member of our church, demonstrating a sense of a value for the church and participation.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes people just want to be in leadership because they think they should be in leadership, but they don't exhibit a heart of love for the church. And I would say part of that is serving.
Yeah.
Like, you want to serve the body of Christ. You want to serve your brothers and sisters. And so someone can't be in leadership, at least in my mind. It's hard for me to believe that God would call someone into leadership that first didn't want to serve.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's important because the sort of leadership that Christ calls us to is servant leadership.
Yeah.
It's to put others first and not make much of ourselves. And it's not that that's easy or just we all do it so great, but that is the nature of the beast. So the first thing we're looking for is, are they committed to this church?
Yep.
Are they demonstrating a love for this church? And by church, I don't mean just this institution. I mean the people here.
Yeah.
And then,
are they involved in the life of the church?
Right.
So, part of that is, are they involved in community groups? Are they already invested in people's lives? And this is not just about a Sunday morning play. It's about how are they engaging with others throughout the week?
Right. And then it's good that you bring that up, because this is sort of the second step in our process is, like, how do we and where do we identify people with potential leadership qualities? Because, if people are showing up on Sunday and then going home and you don't see them see them again, it's pretty hard to figure out who has the potential. But we have a way of discovering potential, Jimmy. And how do we tend to identify people that have potential?
We actually talk about it during our CG Leaders Fellowship, like our community group leaders time. It's during that time that leaders will kind of help identify, hey, such and such, they've got some gifting here.
They're in my CG.
They're in my CG. I'm thinking about having them help out. They're a member, they're serving, they're part of the life of the church. I'm thinking about having them help me, lead a few times. And I want to see them develop. And so they'll talk with Pat and start doing some training at that level and see kind of where that goes.
And the reason we do it this way is because if you're a member and you're already in a community group, and that's the context in which we can see you interact with the Word.
Yeah.
We can see how you follow up with people and their problems and concerns. And we have a leader like keeping their eye on you. It's just the CG leader, whoever it is. Mm-hmm. So it's a great environment in which we can begin to identify, this person has the potential to be a leader. Now, what kind? It could be a deacon, it could be an elder, it could be a pastor, it could be a church planter, it could be another CG leader. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it helps us to identify. So if they are identified and they said, they're going to start working on them, what is the next possible step then for raising that person up as a leader once they've been identified?
Well, then we invite them to Leadership Lab.
Right.
You know,
what's Leadership Lab?
Leadership Lab is we do it every other month on a Saturday, and it used to be every month, but that changed. Now we've split it up a bit. But yeah, it's every other month, and on a Saturday morning, everyone gets together, current leaders, potential leaders,
Men and women in this
men
case.
and women, and we go through some aspects of leadership. Joe will always teach on some aspect of leadership, conflict resolution, things like that. But then we also have a time where we have two people that go up and they share, like they do a teaching.
Right. So it could be they could teach in the context of a small group, like they could facilitate a sort of an open dialogue. They might go ahead and lecture.
Yeah.
Or they might preach, kind of a sermon style and see how that goes. And so, we have women that are called to speak and teach in a variety of contexts, right? So like my wife is one that goes and travels and speaks to other women. She does that a bunch. And so we want to give her and others like her that are called to that sort of a thing, the opportunity to teach and then to get evaluated, right? That's why they do that. They do this sort of practice run or trial run to get some feedback. And from there, we get to see what else they do.
Yeah. And so actually, why don't we interject here? Because this question has come up about what do we do in our leadership labs with
The
women?
ladies.
Yeah, with the ladies. Like, because I think what they're trying to say is, well, is it the word they use was authority? What about the authority, right? Like, are they preaching and then, the listeners there are coming under their authority. And
Right.
So
I think this is less confusing than people seem to make it out to be. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired.
And liberal.
And, I'm just super liberal now. But no, first of all, this is Leadership Lab.
Yeah.
We're essentially have a class where we are asking everybody there to engage in teaching, preaching, things like that. And no one has authority in that context. The Word of God has authority.
Yeah.
The elders there have authority, but nobody there has authority outside of that. I mean, Jesus has authority, but so no, they're preaching, teaching, and they're getting evaluated. Obviously, women can preach biblically. They can prophesy, they can preach. Now, it's the context in which that preaching is valid or appropriate that is up for debate. And so at Redeemer on Sunday morning, we don't have the only people we have preach at Redeemer are those men who we believe are qualified and called to preach the gospel. They're not all pastors, but they are all called to leadership and they're all called to preach.
Yeah.
And we've been able to vet them and test them. The reason we don't have women preach on Sunday morning is not because we think it's wrong for a woman to speak at all on Sunday morning, but because the act of preaching is in the minds of many so closely associated with the role of pastor elder that it becomes confusing at best to have a woman in that position. Now, we have egalitarian friends who their mind just goes haywire when we talk like this because they so disagree with us, and we respect them and we love them. But we are convinced that the Bible limits the role of pastor elder to qualified called men. So we protect that this way. But we encourage women to preach and teach, and I don't have a problem with women preaching or teaching in mixed company, men and women, outside of the Sunday assembly for local church. That doesn't concern me at all because there's no local authority associated with that. So that would be my brief answer there.
Boom. So then, Joe talked about the evaluation time.
Yeah, when we evaluate people who are teaching or preaching, we're looking for a number of different things. Everybody has a sheet, and we're asking them to fill it out. And the big picture thing that we do is we ask, first of all, what worked in this sermon or teaching session? What worked? What did you like? What was effective? What was strong? And then on the back end, we ask, what didn't work?
Yeah.
Or what could this person do better
Yeah.
if they were going to do this again? Or if they had more time? That's a real softball.
Yeah.
If they had more time, what could they add to it to make it better? So we kind of do it in those two stages, and we're looking at things like, how did they reflect the scripture that they were interacting with? Was it exegetical? What doctrines did they cover? Was it applicable? Did you understand what their main idea was, their main point? So they cover all of that stuff, and we write our answers down, and we talk through some of that, and we give them all the sheets with our names on it so they know who said what.
And I think that's really important. Who said what is because someone might want clarity, right? Like, what is it that you meant by this? How could I do this better? And if we're not willing to be honest with our critique, then we shouldn't be giving it.
Yeah. What did you mean when you said don't quit your day job? I don't understand that. What does that mean? I wasn't going to quit my day job, but why do you bring it up? Why do you say I should?
Why do you think you're thinking I should quit my day job?
Is that a interesting, like some reverse psychology?
Yeah.
Like making me want to quit my day job? Oh, no, I shouldn't quit my day. So Leadership Lab is a big part of that. And so out of Leadership Lab, this is where we begin to see and interact with people on a level so that we can say, okay, this person can definitely preach. This person can definitely teach in a group context where there's a lot of discussion. This person has the right gifts to be a deacon, and so on and so forth. And so that really starts to branch out into different streams of development.
Yeah, that's right.
In different ways. So if it's if you've got guys that are starting to go towards pastoral ministry, then you need to figure out, okay, how much can we do and how far can we go? Small church with one staff pastor, and not a lot of help. Well, you're not going to be able to do a ton.
Yeah.
But you could do some investing, and you may want to simply point them to seminary, have them stay connected to your church. They can do online. They can move to a seminary. There's a lot of options, but you could meet with them one-on-one and just do some very simple discipleship and give them opportunities to preach. If they're going to be a CG leader or a deacon, you can pair them up with one or the other, and have them learn, shadow, be mentored. And I think, though, it ought to be a built-in part of the pastor's responsibility to say, I'm going to work to make sure that leaders are continuing to emerge and get plugged in.
And so one of the things for us when it comes to developing like those different streams or branches, so, we have a certain plan for deacons.
Right.
We have a certain plan for them. We have a certain plan for elders and pastors. Then we've also got a certain plan for so when I say elders, I'm talking about elders and pastors that are going to be here, like on leadership here. But then we've also got pastoral development, guys that we've recognized as potential pastors in other churches, church planters.
Right. People that we want to send out.
Church planters, pastors in other churches, yeah. So let's talk about the pastoral development program. Now, that's something you and Pat, and Pastor Pat handle. I don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, you never show up.
I ain't got time for that. So what is it that you guys go through?
We're actually, it's been fun because this is our first formal time doing this. We've always done something like this, but this is our first time doing like a 2-year pastoral development plan. And we're actually retooling this last bit of it right now. Mm-hmm. But the gist of it is we have required reading that covers everything from pastoral theology to systematic theology to practical books on evangelism, church planting. It covers a pretty good gamut. So you think knowledge, skills, character, right? So knowledge, skills, character as it relates to all of that. And then so we break that down. We have them read, and then Pat and I teach. And try to invest in them. So it's a soft seminary. It's not academic. It's it's nothing that intense, but it's us helping them get as ready as they can. And it's a lot of the stuff that you're just not likely to get in seminary. So like when we do these things, when we cover things like whether it's a theological book or whatnot, we're having conversations and applying it to situations that you're not likely to get into in the seminary classroom. And we're encouraging seminary for them as well. So like these guys, we tell them, oh, hey, seminary's a great idea.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are like, no way, not going to happen, not possible. But then a couple of others like, yeah, that is a possibility. Maybe I'll do that. One of them in particular, like, I really need him to go. I really want him to go. I mean, everybody would benefit from it, but this guy's young, super talented.
And he's single right now.
And he's single. And I want to see him flourish. I think he would just do awesome.
Yeah, he would do amazing
at seminary. So that's what it is. So it's dialogical. It's relaxed, and it's not that hard. I mean, if you're a pastor, you can do this. You can meet with people and take them through books and talk to them about ministry. It's not hard. So that's the pastoral development track.
So what are some of those resources you would suggest for pastors that are looking to put together this sort of leadership program? I know that's a lot because there's a lot of different books that we do for different streams.
Well, I think, what it would, you really need to have a pretty well rounded perspective on what the church needs to be doing and what leaders need to be doing. So, I would be looking at books by guys like, I would cover everything from Aubrey Malphur's books to Martin Lloyd-Jones books, like spiritual leadership. I would definitely do The Shepherd Leader by Timothy Whitmer.
That's a great book.
Super, super
We
critical.
should put some of these books up. That
Hey,
way.
can somebody write a good book on deacons?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes.
So I know. Okay, we got Strauch. I'm not even going to mention that other book. Strauch's is good.
Don't mention the other one. The one
gosh.
that we should never speak of
Oh
again.
my gosh! I just want
You got so much trouble for that.
Jeez. Look. I read the reviews.
Yeah, you're like, no,
I'm
you're
like,
like, we're like, hey man, you read this? Yeah, I read. You know, I looked it through. I skipped it. I skipped.
It's good.
I skipped it.
It's good.
And we start going in it, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, that
like you're
was
never gonna
dumb.
find a book
Hey,
that you're
thanks,
always.
thanks, Westminster Bookstore. The name you can trust. Oh, that's Moody. That's right. That's not Westminster.
So anyway, so yeah, please someone write a good book.
On deacons,
Yeah.
that'd be good for Reformed Baptists. Anyways, I would say that, and but the most important thing is just having a clear plan to say, all right, here's a person. What are they called to do? I think this person's called to be a pastor. Okay, so then what do they need to know?
Yeah.
And what can I give them? I can't give them everything, but what can I give them? Where are you strong? And pour into them where you're strong. And do that.
And this doesn't need to happen when you're at 100 or 150 or 200 people. You could start in the beginning phases of a church plant. You need to start now.
Yep. And healthy church plants know this.
Yeah.
In fact, healthy church plants are so jonesing for leadership. Their mistake is they'll go too fast.
Yeah, they'll take anybody.
And they'll be like, oh, this guy's great. And they'll disciple him, mentor him, plug him in. And then the dude turns out to be a total weirdo and not called or competent. And they get in trouble. So don't need to wait till you're a certain size. And you don't need to rush people through. So that that things you're not very careful. You want to be careful here because what you're talking about is the future of the church, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about. I mean, people talk about the children are our future. Like, yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. Mm-hmm. As you mentor and pour in, listen. The reason it's scary that our children are the future is because we are their parents. That's why it's scary because we've done a terrible job raising them. If we're all freaked out, oh no, the children are our future. What are we going to do? All these millennials. Yeah, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
you
our
allowed
fault.
this to happen.
Yeah. So wake up and pour into your leaders so that they will be ready to do what you do and to do it better. That really ought to be your desire and your goal.
We'd love to hear how you are raising up leaders. Let us know. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo or on Facebook /Doctor and Devotion. You can head on to the website, drdevotion.com. There you can sign up for our email blast. You can contact us or you can hit up the store and grab some merchandise. Fresh pod every Monday and Thursdays. I promise you, video content is coming Friday.
Oh, we're going to play with it today.
We're going to play with it today.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if we could release it this Friday, though.
A bit possible.
This Friday?
I didn't say it's probable. I said it's possible.
Oh, well.
It's within the realm of possibility.
I definitely think it is.
With God, all things are possible.
Thanks for that Jesus juke.
That wasn't a Jesus juke. That was a
juke?
theology proper juke, yes.
Either way, I'm thinking you might be right.
All right.
I'm thinking you might be right.
Possible. Teaser, at least.
So, you know what?
Already got the logo.
You know, we're going to, I know. We already got the gear.
We got it all. We just got to figure out how to use it.
We got to use
Listen,
it.
I've been playing with it. I can't figure it out.
All right, well, we're going to try it after this.
I can't even turn it on.
So, yeah, you're really going to want to sign up for our email blast because they're the only ones that can get it right now.
And where do they go to sign up for the email?
You head on over to the website, drdevotion.com. There you can click on the sign up page and
Sign
register.
me up
Before you go.
I don't know the rest of the song. It's not my music.
Later.